Yeah, that's my best mental hack, is to just convince myself that I'm not going to do as much. Even in really ridiculous settings, right? Like, there are sometimes, especially with physical, real life chores like laundry and dishes, it's so hard to work up the nerves sometimes, because I have to get up and do it with my real body. I can't do it from my bed on my phone. What the heck? I can't just push a button and make it happen. So like if I have to do a full load of dishes, what I'll convince myself is, okay, Kaelix, you walk up to the sink, you're just gonna do 3 dishes. You're only going to wash 3. Doesn't even have to be big ones. Just wash 3 cups. That's it. Easy. And then by the 3rd cup, I'm ready to do more, you know? Same with laundry. It's like, all right, I'm just gonna put 1 piece of clothes in there. But once I'm there, it's like I might as well add the rest, you know? Or like if I'm cleaning, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna clean this 1 spot. And then I do the whole thing. It really helps, at least for me. I realize that's probably not a one-size-fits-all. That might not work for everybody, but that is what has, that is what's gotten me the furthest when I struggle with like executive function, like getting the task started. Like making myself do the thing that I need to and want to do, but cannot make myself do. That's what's always worked for me. It's an attention span issue. Do you have an attention span issue? In that case, reminders are helpful. Setting multiple reminders or having body doubles there to like hold you accountable. Like people that you live with maybe, or friends that can text you, check in on you. That can help too. I do struggle a little bit with focus, but not quite in that way. Or maybe it is in that way. Honestly, I kind of demonstrated that today. Yeah, having multiple alarms and having people to hold you accountable is helpful. I think it's honestly like when you're left alone to your own devices that it gets harder to handle that. If anything, my attention span used to be too strong. There was a time when I had to actually set alarms to not work, believe it or not, because I would sit down, I'd start my work, and then like 7 hours later, I'd realize that I hadn't had a bite to eat or I hadn't gone to the bathroom, but my task was done. I had to set alarms to take myself out of focus because I would focus so hard and it's like nothing else in the world existed anymore. But now I almost need the opposite. I need things to like force me into that zone so that I can focus for longer. You blame social media? Honestly, that might be a big part of it, because with social media, there's a lot of like quick reward. As satisfying as it is, it's not very good for us. Your brain is pretty much just a big sequence of chemicals and electrical signals. And when you complete a task or when you do something difficult, it sends signals that feel good. Like, oh, I did that. I'm the boss, you know? Scary, anxiety-inducing? It can be. When it comes to that, my theory is honestly, it's the same as the similar thing. Like, convince yourself that you're going to do less and force yourself to start it. And then once you're in the act of it, it's not as scary anymore. That's how I feel. Though I understand that that's easier said than done. There have been times when I just was totally like agonizing over the simplest thing, like initiating a phone call or, you know, planning a get-together. I've learned that the best thing you can do is convince yourself that it's smaller than it is and just start it. Once it's started, it's not scary anymore. It's specifically that unfamiliar, that unknown territory of not being there yet. I think that when you're there, it's a lot easier. Of course, don't push yourself too hard. It's always okay to rest, and it's always okay to take time to yourself too. That's just how I feel though. With anything, there's no one size fits all, as I say. It's all about finding what works for you. What's important though is trying. It's always important to try something new. Because there will be something that works for you. It's important not to... This is a bad habit that I used to have for the longest time. I would decide for myself before anything was tried that it wouldn't work. Like I already knew it wouldn't work. I was like, that's not going to work. It's important to, of course, take it small. Don't push yourself into anything really uncomfortable, but be prepared for it to maybe work. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Again, easier said than done. It is a monumentally difficult thing to do for some people. So I have humongous respect for people who put in that time and put in that, I don't know, expose themselves to that opportunity. You know what I mean? There's a lot that you miss out on otherwise. I think it's there's a lot to complain about, but it's actually a very beautiful world, and there's lots of beautiful people in it. And something that also helps me is the thought that other people, they do not care and they will not remember. Like, for example, when it comes to dealing with customer service or calling or anything like that, they're gonna forget you exist immediately after the interaction's over with. They're not gonna remember you. Or like, if they're friends, if you do anything weird, they're probably friends with you because they already know about this, right? They're not gonna judge you or anything because they're already your friend. So they'll be cool about it. I think it's important to like kind of let the future decide how it's gonna go rather than deciding from the past what the future is gonna look like. I think that's a good way to articulate what I was talking about. I used to have this habit of being like, this is how it's gonna go, and I'd rather just skip that by not doing it at all. Things can go very different than you anticipate sometimes, especially if you struggle with things like these. Yeah, I think prediction can be hard. I think a big part, especially of adult life, is accepting and embracing that you don't know everything and you don't know how things are gonna go. And sometimes that's a good thing. It can be so scary though. The unknown is so scary. But it can be really good. What might sound like a nightmare could actually be a really nice surprise. That's my advice. As someone who used to really struggle with this stuff, believe it or not, I feel like I've come to become the kind of person who's more sociable and more open, but there was a time when I was like super avoidant in the past. There's always room to learn new things. And I do think that I used to think it was just the way that you're built. I used to think it was the way that I was built, but when it comes to social stuff, like knowing people and interacting with people, some of it is definitely the way that you're built, but other parts of it are skills that you have to develop. I think the problem is just that the skills come faster to some people than they do others. But even if it comes slowly, I think they can still be developed, just like anything else, like learning an instrument or studying like a field. That's how I feel. Social skills tips. Sometimes here's the thing. This is where I know for a fact it's not one size fits all. Sometimes what one person needs is to listen rather than speak. Sometimes other people need to speak rather than listen. I couldn't tell you anything that would work for everybody other than to embrace the fact that things might go differently than you expect, I guess is my best advice. Accept that it might go well, it might go poorly too. It's important to take both things in stride. That's what I think. It is better to do something and regret doing it than to like talk yourself out of it and regret not doing it. That's how I feel. Even if things turn out poorly. There are obviously exceptions to this, but when it comes to social stuff, it's always best to go with your gut. That's how I feel. Or I guess maybe not go with your gut. I guess give it the benefit of the doubt is a better way to put it. Yeah, I feel like if I hadn't picked up that kind of thinking, I'd be a very lonely person. So that is my best recommendation, life hack. Submit yourself to new experiences and embrace joy. Joy will come to those who look for it. Corazón, corazón, tú sí sabes quererme como a mí me gusta. Corazón, tú sí sabes quererme, mi amor. Quererme como a mí me gusta. Tú sí sabes quererme. Tú sí sabes adorarme, mi amor, no te vayas. Quédate por siempre, para siempre amarte.